All right, good evening, everyone. We'll get started. Welcome and thanks for taking time out this evening. And welcome to our second Alberta Built Elite webinar. If you don't know me, my name is Kendall Newell. I'm the manager of female hockey here at Hockey Alberta. Just a couple of housekeeping items as we get started. You are on mute and will be muted for the entire session. We're going to run about 45 minutes this evening, and then we'll leave some time at the end for questions. So we do encourage that everyone type them in the Q&A function or the chat box so that we can get to them later at the end of the presentation. Our presenter this evening has quite a resume and a coaching background. He's currently the coach mentor here at Hockey Alberta, as well as the VP of operations for the AJHL. Prior to Hockey Alberta, his extensive coaching resume includes stints with Fort McMurray Oil Barons, Grande Prairie Storm, and Drayton Valley Thunder. Fran Gow is our coach mentor. He won an RBC Cup with Fort McMurray in 2000, But even more impressive, he is one of 3 coaches in AJHL history to coach over 1,000 regular season games. So I know he's got lots of great stuff for us here tonight, and I am pretty excited to welcome Fran Gow this evening.
Thanks, Kendall, and welcome to everyone with the, I guess, the new normal and this new hockey that we have now. It's going to be new for me here as well, doing a webinar presentation here from confines of the Hockey Alberta office and not having in the room to go with. So we would encourage that questions even as we go through what we're going to be talking about tonight to fire them off. Typically with this presentation, we like to have a lot of audience participation, some thoughts from you as coaches as to what you do and things that you like, and maybe compare that to what I've done. So what we're going to be doing tonight, I'm going to just go through the topic is going to be around seasonal planning, and and especially with that we find ourselves in now, that planning your season, planning your practices, and planning your year for your team is going to be even more critical based on the environment that we're in right now. So I'm going to do a little bit just on some seasonal planning, housekeeping. We'll talk a little about some practice science, and then what the main part here, I want to share with you seasonal plan that last year I coached midget AAA in Park. So I'm just going to share with you my seasonal plan. That should be applicable to all of the coaches that we have here with us tonight. So I'm not quite sure, Kendall, with the audience but I think the material that we see here will be conducive to everyone that's on the call tonight. So and then at the end we'll just explore just a block sample, maybe give you a bit of an idea of. I just want to share with you what we did essentially for our first 8 practices of the year last year, and how that ties into to the planning that we did. So really here though, kind of where does it start? And I think the mindset really right now needs to start really at the top of your association, and that's got to trickle down to the coaches and the players and the parents, because with hockey as it is now, I know we're back on the ice, but we find ourselves in situations now where we don't have games as many and as on the same regular basis as we have, or what we're accustomed to. So we have to, I think, look at the positives that come out of the situation that we're in, and get excited really about the environment that you can create as a coach, and with that focus really on peer development, and with the opportunity to do that. If you're designing your practices, we know that the benefit of practicing, and that the player, with the engagement they get and the touches within a 1-hour practice compared to a 1-hour game, is certainly going to be a lot more and a lot more effective. So really, I think our mindset here right now needs to transfer to the players and the parents, and getting the buy-in from them and you as a coach, I think explaining how beneficial the practices are going to be compared to the games, and especially if you design your practices with enough competition and enough fun, and that's really going to hammer home your point on development. So as coaches, what we need to know on where players are at in their skill and tactical development, and where the players are to go. Okay, where they need to go in their skill and tactical development, and then how are we going to teach these skills and tactics and as to what the players need. And that's really as a coach, all that. So it's evaluating your players and the team. And then as a coach, you're going to organize this information. And you'll figure out what's going to be useful to the players, and that's the why. And then you're going to plan how to maximize that effectively, and that's the how. That's your training, and how you set things up to be able to develop players in all areas. So just some housekeeping. I'm going to be talking to you tonight about skills and tactics. So. And how that relates to some of the concepts that tonight, but just by definition, when I'm talking about skills, I'm just going to be referring to the core technical skills, passing, shooting, puck control, and checking. And when I talk about tactics, I'll be individual tactics and team tactics. And individual tactics will just be, tactics that involve one player trying to gain an advantage or taking away an opponent. And a team tactic will be two or more players using a combination of technical skills to take away an advantage or gain an advantage on an opponent. So when I'm talking about team tactics, I'm not talking about a systematic approach. It's going to be from a combination of players utilizing their skills to be able to create an advantage or take away an advantage from an opponent. So over my time in coaching junior, we get players that come to us from the minor level. There seems to be, has been a bit of a trend of player deficiencies that I've seen over the years that we get with players, and playing with the puck, some deficiencies with players, being able to make small area plays, understanding how to support the puck, and then evasive plays like changing speed, changing direction. That relates to the skating piece, really the explosiveness and just the edges, being able to tactically skate and utilizing those as that relates to the individual tactic a player need to apply to situation, and just the deficiency in being able to tactically skate without the puck. The angling and checking, that's one there where we seen when we got players at the junior level, we were kind of going back to ground zero with them to get to understand both also the checking technique, but also the concept and the tactic of being able to check. And then tracking, understanding on the track, both with purpose, but the concept of that, and then just simply stick on puck. And these are just some deficiencies where that I've seen with players. So I guess where I'm going with that is that as we're coaching at the younger levels, at the minor level, Bantam, midget, and in the elite stream, that the focus really should be, in my opinion anyway, should be in these areas here, because those are some areas where I've found over time where players are coming to us and didn't have some of those skill sets. Because really, athletes do not fail because of their skill level is poor. They fail because their ability tactic in competition is poor. That's really a coaching issue. So just you here, just as you're formulating your seasonal plan, just some factors that will come into play as you're shaping your plan. And that's your coaching philosophy. So what guides you coach, and I know that you will have a coaching philosophy, and this is one of the times when we do this that I like to share with the coaches and find out from coaches really what is their coaching philosophy, and then really does that philosophy, does that align with the association or with the organization that you're coaching in. And just what I'll just share with you what my coaching philosophy is, real quick and brief, and that is that it's develop, challenge, and fun. Developing players to get to next level hockey, and challenging players to be better and pushing, and doing that in a fun environment. And so that's what my philosophy is towards it, and how I approach it when we're developing and coaching players. Some things you'll need to be aware of is the key dates in your seasonal plan, and probably no more than important this year with the environment you find yourselves in, but the dates, and we'll go through that as we examine the seasonal plan, as how that factors in, because it will adjust and create the silver, I guess, in the world we're in now, where you'll have lots of practice time and not as much game. Really, that is the time. You'll have that ability now and that opportunity now to continue to develop your players. Then just the blocks and the focus areas. What your seasonal plan is, what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. And then, of course, the practice is how you're doing it. So the blocks or focus areas that you'll have, you'll probably set your season or your year into maybe phases, and I'll just share with you how we do that, and that's where some of our focus points are. And then your coaching duties, what will each of the coach on the staff be responsible for? I think that's important to understand everybody, and clarity in that, what the roles and responsibility of the staff are, and who's responsible for what, and what everybody's roles are. And then, of course, you'll have goals for each of your segments or each of your blocks, and for the season, and a way of finding out how it's measured. Was your plan effective? And did it come to fruition as to what you wanted? But I think having goals for each of the segment is a key piece in executing your plan. This is just more of a statement here. Coaching culture is a collective behavior of individuals that are part of an organization or team, and it's formed by the organization of team values, team vision, and goals. And a strong team culture enables the team to define and establish the environment needed for top performance and rewarding relationships. So, I'll just ask the question, maybe just something to think about. And what is your coaching culture with your team or your association or the organization that you're working with? And I think being mindful of what the coaching culture is, and how it's working with your assistants, and if many of you have incorporated your assistant coaches in building your plan, if you did, that's great, because that's going to get buy-in from your assistant coaches, in having them assist in creating this plan. And do you present this plan to your parents and players? And presenting everything that's in your plan, but do you share that parents and players at the start of the year, and segments throughout the year, just to keep everybody informed as to what you're doing, why you're doing it, and when you're doing it. So here, a bit of just an outline here on some of the elements that probably would make up part of your plan. The administration piece, the physical prep, the technical skill development, then the individual tactics and team play, and your team development. And then you as a coach will need to prioritize that, because some of these what age level you're coaching this, you could be interested in skills or tactics, or in some of the technical skill development, you could be introducing, or you're in that phase where you're just continuing to develop that and continue to build it in there. So that's one of the things, coach, you need to do once you've kind of made your list of all the things you want to do. with players that how do you prioritize that and what do you prioritize. Just on some periodization. Your yearly plan, and in some of your environments that you're coaching in may encompass a 12 that it's a year round. It may not just be a plan from September to March. It could be a 12-month plan, and within that you'll have your seasonal plan and the blocks, the weekly plan, and eventually you'll be able to extract a lesson plan or a practice plan from that. So building these segments in periodization kind of format, it just anyway for me it helps me keep me on task and knowing what we're doing and where we need to go. Just on a block, as we review my plan here, the block is really just a tool for training objectives. Typically, a block could be away from 4 to 8 practices or 4 to 6 games in a block, and you'll create that. That'll be directly impacted by your schedule and your number of practices in there. So it will vary. Some blocks will be smaller, some blocks will be more, depending on what your area of focus is at a particular time. So here, the coaching culture should be your staff's roles and responsibilities, and then really your planning process with that. So just some ways maybe that you would evaluate if your plan was effective, either at year's end or en route to that. Utilizing checklists, some self-evaluation. I mean, the old eyeball test, and maybe you're an analytics guy, so you may be using some statistics, but just various ways, strategies here to be able to evaluate if your plan, just some measurables there to see if you have ways to see if players actually are improving, if they actually are developing, and in finding some ways to be able to evaluate, because that'll be constantly what you're doing throughout your year. You can build a seasonal plan, and it's gonna change, because as you evaluate your team, as you evaluate your players, seeing as to finding out where they're at in their development curve, and where they need to get to is going to have a direct impact on what you do. So you'll probably find that your plan may change a bit, and you'll tweak that as you go, as you continually evaluate. And of course, with the large amount of practice time that you'll have, then it'll become the games that will serve as a pretty good evaluation piece, because at the end of the day, what you see in a game, and conversely, what you don't see in a game is what you don't coach. So I'm not going to read this here to you. It's on your screen, but these line items here require absolutely no talent. And so, I mean, that usually generates some good discussion when we have that. I'm sure as you've maybe had experience in some of these areas here, and whether it be challenges or areas there that you've had to maybe spend a lot of your time in development in these areas. But these are things that we would expect would have a high level of if they're playing for us at the level that we're coaching. So here's just really I'm going to just share with you now the what the foundation of my structure for expectation within our team game. And really it's just 4 areas: tracking, pucks and bodies to the net, checking, and puck protection for support. And so that's really becomes the foundation. So in a general perspective, that's our that really becomes our system, if you will. And those are areas there that we center on from our structure. So there's obviously a lot of individual tactics and team tactics that make each of these areas more effective or less effective. So we focus on this here, and those are the general areas that we're trying to get our players to master, at least from a team play perspective. Here's just a list of some habits that we expect or would like to have our players. And what I would ask at this point, and maybe you can throw it on the Q&A chat room there, but if you have some habits you don't see appear on this that you expect players to have in their game, and that maybe are foundational for you to do that. But these are just some of the habits that we expect our players to, such as using your camera, and that's really for the thinking piece of playing. And the vision, really it's that we want our players to be able to take a picture in front of them, behind them, beside them at all times, so that they are better prepared for the next play. And that just really factors into the thinking game. So just building that habit into the players. I know as coaches, we sometimes get players we thought that they're just always puck focused. So expectation for our guys is they just create that habit of using the camera. First touch forehand, back to pucks hard, the 5 strides habit, communication piece, and stopping at net, of course. And it's just a sample list of some habits that we try to instill and ask our players to incorporate into their game. Here, just on practice philosophy, and this is coming more so in question form. Just create some awareness to get you as a coach to think and maybe reflect on how your practices are. Do you have a practice philosophy as to how your practice? Do you have practices that you want energy or passion to compete and the fun? Is that a piece practice? The challenge, are you inviting the players to grow from failure, within your practice setting? Do you approach that as a coach, and is that maybe part of your philosophy that you're challenging players to be better in your practice setting, but also allowing them to grow from the event? Are you doing events that allow players to make decisions and problem solve? Okay, are you doing anything in your training that would relate to helping develop hockey IQ? You have events, whether that be a small area game, and based on the boundaries or restrictions you have within the game, is that helping or hindering in developing hockey IQ? So your drills or your events that you have in practice, are they are there to both challenge the player, but cause the player to have to make decisions and problem solve? What about goaltenders? It's within your practice. How not just the involvement of it is, but how to utilize them and within your practice, and I mean, they're part of your team. So I think sometimes we often forget about the goaltenders in practice. Sometimes not intentionally. We get that told me it was a great tip as a coach, and I've my coaching habit, and he mentioned that we get to the whiteboard, or we've given the instruction or messaging on ice as to as to what we're doing or what our expectations are for the drill, and then at the end of that we should be saying, and goalies, this is what we need you to do in this drill as well. And so that the inclusion of the goaltenders, because within any drill you're doing, if you've got goaltender involvement in it, there's coaching and development that you can do and give to the goaltender with that. So just simply by and goalies, this is what we need you to do here. I need to track the puck after the rebound into the corner, or we're doing a shooting drill where the puck's coming out of the for a shot. I need you to find your puck and then track puck as it goes out, get set and go. Just give him some of the whether it be fun expectations and in goaltender development. So and does your practice drive your team identity? I see a lot of association teams that whether it be in their mission statement or whether it be in their declaration of what that association player should look like, the identity of their team is. So just be mindful, does your practice actually drive your team identity? and does that relate? Okay, just moving here now into how we practice. Just as a little bit more of it, and I try to be mindful of this when we're, from the development this side of things, because it relates to the acquisition with both skill and tactical acquisition. So, we'll do in a deliberate format. But then, we also do a lot of small space practice. And there, you got drills that are done in a random setting. Basically, it's a read, decide, do for the players in small space. So, utilizing the deliberate drills for them to be able to, perform the skill or tactic and get efficient at it in whether it be, technique or route or pattern or what have you for the tactic in a deliberate format. But then we have to place them into a setup there, and I find that in the small space, again, just speeds up the thinking for to have to make those decisions as to what to apply, what tactic, what skill in the situation that's presented to me. So it's really just here, outlining steps. And I try to be mindful of this, is that it becomes as to the acquisition and kind of where the player is at with it. Third step there, performing the skill and tactic very well, and then at speed. Then progressing here where you can perform the skill and tactic very well at speed and under fatigue, and then perform the skill or tactic very well at speed, under fatigue, and then under pressure. And you look at your drill setup, so that would involve our small space practice, or even in our small area game setups, and then performing the skill and tactic very well at speed, under fatigue, pressure, and doing that consistently. And then finally, being able to perform the tactic under fatigue, under pressure, consistently, and then in competition conditions. So within the small space practice, or within your practice, the competition piece with it, because that's the game. And this is just for me. I kind of would go through this in my mind as I'm evaluating the player, that where he's at in kind of the 7-step process here to evaluate where they're at. Okay. Then here, just on the linking concept, the speed never changing in game situation. It does place demands on the player. They're required to recognize what technical and tactical skills do I apply based on what I've recognized. So just use the example here. Like we'll do, you'll do line drills in this, but if it concludes with an unfinished play at the net, okay, or any, I think we've really lost that opportunity to fully game simulate, within our, and say anything to you within your drills. Just be mindful. Can you have a transition piece to it? So got a drill that does finish in the attacking zone at net, that drill sequence ends for those players when that puck is transitioned from offense to defense, defense to offense. So they're there, because that's the game. That's what happens in the game. I certainly wouldn't expect our players, we're doing a drill in practice that finishes at the net and there's a shot rebound that goes in the corner. We don't expect our players just to go back and get in line for the next sequence of the drill. We expect them to finish that play. So I think that to be mindful of that, is really that's that. And then from practice to game, or practice to competition. That's really the objective. So with that, so just you be mindful that that within your drills that you've got a transition piece there as much as you can, especially in multiple player drills. Okay. All right. So we're just gonna flip out here, and I'm gonna need probably Kendall to help me get out of here. I want to go to which one? Stop share? New share. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just kind of take you through my seasonal plan that I had for last year with the midget AAA team, and we'll just on a few points here that are important as you're doing your planning. But way I've got this laid out, one of the the first pieces on here really is roles and responsibilities, and that's right from top to bottom, from the association, whether it be the directors to the manager, coaches and the players, and then roles and responsibilities of assistant coaches and everybody else. So and just for clarity, so everybody knows what everybody's doing and have an understanding of that, and then we'll also break that down into who are areas. So whether it be in the skill development, or play with the puck, without puck, special teams. So all of the line items, in there in our team development. So just an outline. So we had a skating goaltender coach, we had a mental performance coach, and we had strength and conditioning. So to utilize some service providers there to our players. So again, so here I just was to outline where the in the different through there. So the piece here now, as we get into basic, pretty much the general overview. Now, intent, I have blacked out the up on the dashboard there. I've out the dates, and because this is where, if I was doing my plan, is where that the impact is going to be, because it's going to be the schedule. It's going to be the dates that are going to have the impact of what I do and I do it. So we'll just show you, how we build that. So along the left here is just our line items under categories: team development, our skill development. Okay, there's the core skills. With puck, without the puck, and then just some areas there that we give reference to, special teams. So when you're reading this, dark purple, what that relates to is that it's a priority area of focus, timeline of where we are in our of time. So if we were looking as an example, we'll jump to the. You don't see any dark purple until 2 months in season, as far as doing any work with power play or penalty kill. Now, that doesn't mean on some chunking on that, because really the individual tactics and the team tactics that are necessary for power play, we're developing and building those players in, because as we develop the habits in the players, they all relate to our special teams. So we're doing that as we're doing our skill development, and we're doing that as we're doing our play with the puck, as an example. So this is just for me, then becomes a guide as to the times of when, and I break it down, much 4 phases here within the year. And again, this will move, or would move this year, depending on our practice schedule and our game schedule. But just to give you an idea of, again, it's a guide for me that, in phase, yellow phase there, that, we're starting to work, we're building the habits. That's a big piece. And that now we're evaluating and we're teaching in this first phase. And then as we move and get into the compete, working smart and using our habits that we've instilled, and then reassessing, continue to evaluate our players and our team, and figuring out again what we have to continue to teach. So just a breakdown there of the phases as it goes. So then I'll have a skills and tactic inventory in through here, and and again, this could change as you evaluate your team and as you evaluate your players. But I guess in the perfect world, this would be for us here the style of play that we want. But I have highlighted the in the box there the pucks and bodies to the net, puck protection for support, checking and tracking, and really that's the kind of the foundation of our gameplay there. So, but just basically, outlining what we expect as far as the style of play, and then just an inventory here, even on specific skills or individual tactics that players by position should be able to execute and demonstrate that we expect them to at this level, and that's what we end up having to teach. So, and then I just break that down into with puck and without puck. And then also break that down even further into zones. So, so that kind of brings us to the main part of the plan here, and this is really the biggest part of the guidance for me in my plan for what we're going to do, and so we what you'll see in here. This is not where we're teaching from a. We're not teaching systems. We're teaching concepts, and so that's how. So even some of the terminology that you may see here, either not familiar with or it's just a different word than from coach. We all have our own coach speak we use, but really at the end of the day, it's still the same individual tactic or team tactic way to describe it. So maybe just review this here. We one thing we try to get our players to really understand is that there is no okay. We don't want you caught in no man's land, and it's only really some 4 situations that exist in the game. Either our team has the puck or it doesn't. Our team does have it. Either you're the guy with it and you're driving it, and then if you're not the guy driving it, you better be the guy that's in good support position for the driver. So and if our expectation is puck back, so if you're close, you better be and disrupt that. We're real big on following the principle of pressure. If we don't have the puck, we expect you to check that and disrupt, and if you're not the guy doing the checking and disrupting, be as far as defensively supported in the layers there. You can be in a position to be able to collect that puck once it's dispossessed. So just kind of divide my down by zone: defensive zone, neutral zone, and offensive zone, and then also without puck and with puck. So these are just some of the concepts that we try to instill in our players. So really, this makes up our play, and by zone. So I'm not going to go through those verbatim. You can see them there, and it may spur some questions that maybe you can throw into the chat room that we can deal with at the end. But just to show you how we build that, and more importantly, what okay is what it is that we're trying to build into our team. So there's our plan for our team play and expectation, and really a lot of this is habit based, is what we expect, right down to to our entries, then our concepts and habits on power play and penalty kill, and also with tracking through there. And then finally, I'll have essentially just a drill bank. And then as it relates to each of the different development items, I've just got favorite drills, if you will, that or drills that I think are effective in being able to extract and help the players to develop in those areas. So just a drill bank for me, so that as we're instituting our practice plan or building our practice plan, that I can go to where we are in our season and on our focus within our block as to where it is, and then I can flip into here if we're going to deal with our theme of our practice is on checking as an example. Got 3 drills there that I like to utilize to help checking, and those are drills that are done in progression kind of format. Really, some of them, one of them is deliberate, and then the other got the random piece to it there that now incorporate the thinking piece and challenge the players to have to apply the appropriate tactic to appropriately check properly. So I just built myself a drill bank there, and then go to that. So we just insert those into our practice plan. Okay, Kendall, I need to get out of this piece here. Bear with us here, folks, as I'm learning how to do this again. Oh yeah, new share. There we go. I'm getting pretty good at this. Yeah, nice. Okay, and share this. Okay, so it's just a one pager here. I just want to just share with you, when they asked me to talk about go deal with some seasonal planning, and it really kind of got me thinking, is like, what where do you start? Like, if you were to get going, and then I know a lot of you coaches out there are already into practice, but it caused me to reflect on what do we get. Now I know I have a plan. I've built that, and as to what to do and when we're going to do it. But it really got. I went back and I just more for research for me, is what did we do in our first 8 practice, and so what we had coming out of our plan was that there was 6 line items that we were going to cover off in the first 2 weeks, and they're just on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So our habits, the eyes up, using cameras, hard flat passes, communication, no shortcuts, style of play foundations, our checking, puck protection, tracking, and then 5-man attack entries. That was some of the items that we wanted to work on and work with in the first 2 weeks. I went back and I said, well, all right, how did we do that? And so here's what we did in the first 8 practices. Practice number 1, I introduced line item number 1. So really, it was about establishing, setting the tone, if you will, of really how we were going to practice. And and then that was connected to our team identity too. So as I mentioned earlier, I'd ask you, do your practices drive your team identity? So that we did in practice 1, and then we had as you'll see in every practice we did the first 8, there was position specific station work that we did, and our practice was we'd be divided into thirds. So the if it was a 60-minute practice, we'd have 20 skill development, 20 minutes dedicated to, and then another 20 minutes dedicated to position specific, or really, in that 1 hour, if we had a 1 hour practice, that 40 minutes was spent on skill or individual tactical development, not on any team play or systematic work. Practice 2, we established line item 1 again, and again with our stations. And practice 3, we started to begin some team accountability for the line items in number 1, and we introduced number 2. So we were starting to play for our style of play, pucks and bodies to the net, the tracking, checking, and puck protection. And in practice 4, we developed now number 3. So we spent a lot of time on piece, and then also developing number 4, checking and puck protection. And practice 5, we repeated practices 3 and 4. It was the same practice. And practice 6, we introduced number 5. So that was tracking and purposeful, and introducing the 5 strides habit, actually introduced to the players earlier, because that's one piece of our foundational habits, is the 5 strides habit, and but it ties into tracking. 8, we developed both line items 5 and 6. So that's just to show you what we did in our first 8 practices, and with the emphasis on the development of individual skills, and only going as far as individual skill development from a tactical perspective for individual player. And so that's where we spent our time in the first 8 practices there. So I just share that with you just to give you an idea of really where our focus was. And that was, our first assemble. This was, our first 8 practices leading up to gameplay. So after practice 8 was, we ended up having games after that. So how do I get off of here? I can just leave it on there. That's okay. Okay, so there's just I guess kind of a Reader's Digest version of what we did, and why we did it, and when we did it with our team last year, and just to give you I guess a sense of the type of planning and what needs to go into planning for the season. This is just really a 30,000-foot view here on that. But as coaches, we know the importance of being able to plan, and for that, a lot of work as a coach goes into this. Spit out a 1-hour practice. So there. So. That's the end of it. That's all I have for you right now. I appreciate your attention to this, and hopefully there's maybe some pieces there that would help or assist you with formulating your for this season. And if you don't have one already, I would assume that all of you do. So
Awesome. I'm going to scoot closer to Fran so you can hear me through his computer. We're trying to eliminate feedback here. Thanks for sharing your insights, Fran. That's great. I hope coaches took a little bit of tidbit. Knowing the season that these elite coaches potentially have in front of them, where they play a handful of games and then have 2 weeks off to switch cohort groups, anything that you can think of that comes to mind of how maybe that impacts your plan or things to focus on in that time?
Yeah, well, I think it having that time. Now you can really focus in on that the development side without I mean, we all want to play games, but but that opportunity now, I mean, as a coach, I would welcome that. And and I don't know, maybe this, because we all it's now probably going to be forcing coaches into to coach to develop rather than coach to win. And and I think but that's what we need. So I would welcome it. As far as what to do, I've thought of that. If I was in in that situation where I'd have that, I'd welcome it. So I think it'll also come down to about how you're going to be able to keep your players engaged as well. So what is it you do? For me, I'd be incorporating a lot of competition-based drills or events, and within my planning over the course of those 14 days, or if you had 4 practices each week or 3, so you're looking at a total of 6 practices in that 14-day pause that you're in. But I'd be mindful of gearing towards that and trying to. Once you've got past the the point that you're satisfied that you're providing enough of the development for the players, I'd be mindful of having a lot of competition within my practice setting. Because the players are going to need that. They want to play. I'd be mindful of incorporating a lot of competition practice.
Well, I'll pause for 2 seconds if there's any other audience tonight for Fran. Last call. While I wait, I will just say we are hosting another session next Tuesday at 7:30. It will be on effectively using technology to help in your player development throughout this year. So while we have these 2-week pauses and that things that you can be doing and using video in practice to help your players develop. So we'll be sending that out, that link out in the next couple of days. We've got Alex Mandalitas, who's leading us through that next week. While I'm seeing no questions, Fran, was there anything else you wanted to maybe just last touching words?
I just I want to thank thank you for coaching. It's you're going to be we're in a different world now with the new normal of how we're going to do it. So it's going to challenge you as a coach to how you're going to plan for that and how you're going to execute what it is you want to do with your teams and with your players. So I wish you the best of luck moving forward. And I think the challenge that you have as a coach facing it's I would take it from the perspective it's exciting to be able to have this much opportunity now to really truly develop hockey players.
Great. Well, thanks everyone for taking to make not only your players better, but your association. To echo Fran's sentiments on behalf of Hockey Alberta, thanks for all that you do for the game and for. So with that note, have a great evening, stay safe, and we wish all your teams the best of luck this season.